Hey, it's Rachel with a little quickie soundbite for maybe not tips and tricks, because I'm definitely not. If y'all have followed me at all whatsoever in the last maybe 6 or 8 years of my life, you know that I'm not an advice giver really. I will definitely give you some stories about what a hot mess I am, but maybe if not tips, maybe just like ideas or something for you to think about. But anyway, today is traveling long distances with small kids and your spouse or significant other or even just another adult is not with you. So because of our military lifestyle, because of the job that my husband has, and because of moving around everywhere, like 7 states in the past 10 years, you kind of get used to just doing stuff by yourself. And I know that that is relatable to a lot of people, not just women, but guys and girls. Even if you're not affiliated with the military, you've got a spouse who's an airline pilot or who's in hospitality or who's in national security or even just corporate life where you're flying around a lot, and you pretty much have to figure out how to do life by yourself. I do have a not full-time job, but a very, very full part-time job at a hospital. We've got a pandemic going on. We're in the middle of school, so I literally took my kids on a trip with their school stuff. So I was just gonna give you a little sound nugget here and talk about road trips with your kids, whether you're thinking about full-time RVing or you're thinking about just doing like a fall or a summer trip with your kids. Maybe you've never gone super far before or anything. We actually just took a trip. It'll be, by the time we get back home, it'll be around 2,500 miles total in the last week. And my kids are definitely elementary school, more like younger elementary school. So I've got one that has stomach issues, and we stop at least every hour, if not more, for bathroom trips. And then I've got another one who is horrifically car sick. Like, it's a major factor in our trip taking. I just wanted to like kind of throw out there something that I've kind of reminded myself about. Even if you're taking a trip with your significant other or with a family member who's an adult, or even if an older kid who can help you out, the number one thing I think is just not just lower your expectations, like literally obliterate them. Have zero expectations for the trip. Even if you're going to the beach or you're going to the mountains or you're gonna RV camp, you know, in the middle of, I don't know, glacier or whatever. It's so easy to have expectations, and especially if you've like tried to watch YouTubers and prepare for the trip, or you've Googled where you're going and you tried to prepare. As humans, we just naturally build up these expectations because you've planned for it, right? And that trip can literally make or break you, like the road trip part. You can get there and want to get on an airplane and fly home and leave your car and your family. So, for example, this morning we jump in the car. We've got it's 10 hours on GPS, which means, it was 9 hours on GPS, which means usually that's about 3 extra hours for us. And I don't even have babies. So if you had a baby, I have definitely crisscrossed the country from coast to coast with a baby. You generally add a solid 20 minutes per hour for diaper changes, for feedings, for just times when you just have to stop because that baby's been screaming for hours. So I can definitely talk about that later on. We've done Washington State to Kentucky with a newborn and a 2-year-old. We've done Tennessee to Montana, and all the while we have 2 dogs as well. Forgot to tell y'all that. We've done Tennessee to Montana. They were like 3 and 5, I think. We've done, the Army thinks it's hilarious to send us coast to coast. We never did like shorter moves. So all of our 7 moves have been crazy long trips. But my number one like tip or story, whatever, suggestion is take away the expectations, especially the getting on the road and just driving expectations. Because I have driven, like I've already knocked out probably 1,800 miles in the last week. And every single time I've fallen into that trap of like, okay, is everybody situated? Does anybody else need to use the bathroom? We're just going to get on the road and we're just going to drive. Like, we're just going to drive. And it doesn't happen. And then it makes you super irritated when you got to pull off 30 minutes later again for somebody's thrown up out the window. There's a dog puking in the back of the car. Your kid's got to pee for the 80th time. Like, at one point on the trip to my parents' house, up from the Gulf to my parents' house, my daughter looked at my little boy and she was like, you don't get anything to drink on this trip. Like, nothing. For the next 7 hours, you get nothing. Of course, we let him have something to drink. But it was funny because even she had that exhaustion of, oh my God, do we have to stop again? We hit up, so we're from Maryland, and so Maryland and all the way through Virginia, everything was still closed. Maryland's completely shut down because of the pandemic. We're in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic 2020, and our state is completely shut down. You can't even go in anywhere and do anything. So I was a little bit worried about bathroom stuff, but we have lived in an RV for a year and 4 months at one point, just a couple years ago. We did buy a house eventually, but we've done full-time RV life. We've also had a little pool-behind camper. We've camped almost our entire marriage with little kids. We've been very remote most of the time. We haven't done a whole lot of like near a city camping. So we've definitely contributed to the fertilization of the earth all across the country. So I'm not scared of pulling off and having my kid pee on the side of the road, but traveling down the East Coast, I was kind of hoping that we could find a bathroom. But anyway, we got into North Carolina and everybody's open. Supposedly they were in like phase 2, but everything was just open. So we hit up at pretty much every Cracker Barrel we came to all the way down because they're already super clean bathrooms. That's a good travel tip. Try to stop at Cracker Barrels. Like on your GPS, you have that function where you can click search along route. I use Google Maps, but I know when I used iTunes Maps, they have the same function. You can just click search along route and you can type in Cracker Barrels and have them pull up. But if you've got kids, or even if you don't have kids, those are amazing places to stop and use the bathroom because the bathrooms are always clean. Always. And in some parts of the country, there's not a lot of Cracker Barrels. But, pretty much north to south on the East Coast, Cracker Barrels everywhere. All along 40 that crisscrosses the entire United States, there's a bunch of Cracker Barrels. You can find a lot of them. They're not just in the South. So there's no little travel tip. But we stopped at 6 Cracker Barrels from North Carolina to Alabama. So, that's one travel tip. The second one, or like I said, the first one, not just lower your expectations, really just kind of take them away. Just be like, it is what it is. Like, we're just driving. We're going to get there eventually. Even if we have to stop and stay in a hotel when the drive says it's only 10 hours, we're going to stop at a hotel. Just do it, just do it. Give yourself a destination. We stopped and spent the night in North Carolina, which I kind of thought, Charlotte, South Carolina, which is not that far from Maryland. It's really not, but by the time I knew I was about an hour outside of Charlotte, and I was exhausted of driving. My kids are ready to get out of the car. We were just tired. And I was like, I'm not going to push us. I learned that a long time ago. Just stop. Just stop. Have a nice dinner. Order something into your hotel room. Take a walk if there's a little park nearby. Even if there's not, take a walk around the hotel. Go swimming if the hotel has a pool. Like, just take away those expectations of just getting there, because that can totally ruin a trip. First-hand experience on that one. And then, like I said, so no expectations. Cracker Barrel bathrooms, 100%. Also, they have like 10-cent candy sticks that are pretty much big kid pacifiers. I love those. Buy at like $1 worth of those. They're good for a real long time. But yeah, so like we left this morning, 8:30. I wanted to leave at 8, but 8:30 worked. And within 45 minutes, we stopped again for my kid to use the bathroom. We've now driven, let's see, how long? 10:30. So, yeah, we stopped an hour ago. I'm about to stop again as soon as I finish this. And, it's just the way it is. And I know it's kind of hard to internalize that at first. It took us a long time. And like I said, we have been doing massive road trips that most people only do once a lifetime or a couple times in their lifetime, maybe once or twice before their kids graduate high school, but cross-country, literally road trips, or north to south road trips, where it can kind of ruin the entire trip. And when I say the entire trip, I mean like 2 weeks of your life if you let it get to you. So, you know what? We had to stop. We had to stop 45 minutes in, and then, whatever. It was fine. So I think my last little tip is get everybody situated. Don't feel like you have to leave and everybody's got to have a snack in their hand unless it works for you. Like, you do you. That's the number one thing. Who cares what the YouTube influencers say? Everyone's an expert, but they're an expert in their own life. And I always want people to remember that. Like, I would by no means consider myself an RV life expert. Obviously, I don't do it anymore. It was great. We're really glad we had that experience, but we're also very happy that we own our own home. So yeah, like, remember, everyone's an expert in their own life. Their expert tips for their trip and their life and their whatever don't have to apply to you. And don't feel like you're a failure, because it didn't go like theirs. But a lot of times, YouTube influencers and travel experts and stuff, it's very glitzy and glamorous and pretty because that's how they make their money. And nobody wants to watch a show that's always negative or showing you just the bad things that go on, on a trip. Maybe you would like to see that because ours are probably hysterical. But anyway, just remember that's how they make their money, is by views. And if people like to watch pretty stuff. So, yeah, just kind of chill out. I know I hate to have to be told chill out, but sometimes we need to. Just remember, it's a trip. When you get there, you get there, like, that's it. And if you start off your trip and everybody seems happy, and then within 30 minutes, kids are screaming, people need stuff in the trunk already, like, it's okay to stop. It's okay. And honestly, it'll probably only be a 5 to 10 minute stop. And that 5 to 10 minute stop can make your next 3 hour setup for greatness. Whereas if you didn't stop, the turmoil's still going to go on, but you're going to start to get pissed off too. You're going to carry that angstiness, and it's just going to feed and fester. So don't put the expectations on your trip that you have to drive 4 hours without stopping, because that'll just really mess it up. And then sometimes, guess what? Everybody's going to take a nap, like this one beside me, and the one in the back seat's watching YouTube, and we can just drive, and we'll drive for 4 or 5 hours, and it's amazing. And then, so what if we stop 3 times the next hour? So what if we stop at a restaurant and eat for an hour? So what if we stop and let the kids play at a cool park they saw? That's just a little nugget of advice that I thought about just because my trip started out with, 3 stops in the first 2 hours. But make it yours. You become the expert of your own life. And it's great to watch other people's tips and tricks. You can learn a lot from it, especially if you're a full-time RVer or you're an RVer who's taking an extended trip. Absolutely, I could never have survived the year and whatever months plus of full-time RV life. Literally no home and getting rid of all my possessions and living in an RV. Couldn't have survived without those tips and tricks on YouTube, but at the same time, it can also make you feel like a failure pretty easy too. So, have an awesome trip. You can do it. If I can do it, and I'm always falling apart, I promise you can do it. Safe travels.